Whoops, my bad. Hey, sometimes you get things wrong. Since late December of 2018 until now, I've put out 56 videos covering 91 NES games and 3 Famicom games, and that's a lot of information to get right. A lot of edits, and a lot of footage, and certainly, I've made some mistakes. But if you admit to your mistakes and call them out, or have you call them out for me, it's like they never happened, right? Let's start with the Disney Afternoon Games Part 1. In the video, I say that I didn't watch Disney Afternoon cartoons as a kid because I didn't have the Disney Channel, and while that's not entirely true because my dad found ways to trick our satellite into getting us all the pay channels, in reality I wouldn't have needed it for the Disney Afternoon cartoons because they aired on syndicated television, as was pointed out by TJ Crows in the comments. Crows? Thanks, TJ. So yeah, of course you didn't have to have the Disney Channel to watch these cartoons. What was I thinking? Next up, on the Game Shows Part 1 video, I made you sit through reviews of Hollywood Squares, Family Feud, Classic Concentration, and finally Double Dare. I said that if a team opted for a physical challenge and got it wrong in Double Dare, then no one got the money. And that is absolutely false. What moron would think that? Fortunately, JB aka Smooth Chocolate set me straight in the comments. Thanks, John. So yeah, if a team opted for a physical challenge and failed it, the other team wins the money by default. Of course. A few weeks later, on the WWF and WCW Wrestling Games video, I said that Lex Luger was the only wrestler to be in both the WWF and the WCW games, but, thanks to commenter Late DEP31, I was reminded that the IRS man started out in the WCW as Mike Rotunda, and each of those characters are in the games, meaning once again, I was wrong. And I call myself an 80s kid. Sheesh. Thanks for pointing that out, Late DEP31. In the Amagon video, I tried to make a bunch of jokes about the cover because it is ridiculous. As I went through and named everything I could see with increasing excitement, I eventually said the dinosaur looked bludgeoned because I thought the shells coming out of the gun in the foreground were wounds on the giant lizard in the background. You can see that now too, right? Or am I just that stupid? No one had to call me out on that one though, I caught it myself, so... Less of a correction and more of a clarification, in my gun-nac and Zanuck video I failed to point out one very important thing that makes Zanuck even more difficult than it really already is. You cannot continue in the last 2 stages. If you get to level 11 or 12 and die, you have to start back at stage 10. Big thanks to Will Mistretta for kindly pointing that one out in the comments. For my daughter's first birthday, I released a video about my favorite franchise as a kid, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and as I'm essentially knighting myself as a turtle expert, I failed to notice this. The first picture in the video has 5 turtles in it. Let's see, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Gary Angelo? Who is that? Always check and then recheck everything you steal from the internet. I was just as confused as you were, Joeypad Retro Gaming, but thanks for pointing that out. It doesn't stop there though. In the same video, I have the Back from the Sewers footage under the Fall of the Foot Clan box art and vice versa. Oops, there's just no excuse for that one. Thanks to Neil Purcell for kindly making me aware though. On the Laser Invasion video, you know, the game where Konami made a scope you wear to look like you're a cross-eyed coal miner, Megadan29 asked if you could play the game with the controller, and I completely whiffed on talking about that. You can play the game with the controller, but you have to maneuver a reticle with the D-pad, and it's tedious. The zapper is the way to go here in my opinion. Thanks for asking about that, Megadan. Monster Party is a weird game full of oddball mythos, and I was bound to get something wrong, and while I didn't say anything incorrectly, I failed to research why there was fried food in the game. Again, Will Mistretta was on the scene, and pointed out that the fried foods were a movie language pun on the horror film The Fly. Instead of The Fly, it's The Fry, as the L and R sound are swapped. I thought that was interesting and asked Will to give me a source, and then he totally did. And it appears legit, so there you go, the fried foods aren't random, it's just a gag about The Fly. Thanks, Will. Not really a correction, but another fun fact by Will Mistretta, who says the guy who converted the Japanese Power Blazer into what we know in the US as Power Blade was a Nintendo Power editor named Randy Studdard, who named Power Blade's hero Nova after his brother. After some digging, I found a write-up from Randy himself where he admits that very anecdote. Neat. In that same video, Play's Guide pointed out that the game's cover artist Mike Winterbauer drew the cover based on a photo of himself. After some digging, it's true, the company behind Power Blade indicated to Winterbauer that the game had a quote-unquote Terminator feel, and that is why he chose the picture of himself that he did. Even Randy Studdard indicated in his written piece that he had no hand in the cover art, and that was up to the Japanese artists. Winterbauer did receive copyright letters due to how close the covers of Power Blade and Terminator were, but once he sent them the self-portrait he based it all on, it was all good. Well, that does it for corrections and extra fun facts for my videos in 2019. I was able to release a video every Wednesday for an entire year, and I'm pretty proud of that. 2020 looks to be especially busy for me, but I have plenty of videos ready to go. Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for commenting, and thanks for watching.